Hi guys, do you like drinking beer and every time that you go into the store you get really confused because there are all these different beers on the shelf that say IPA, XPA, Pale Ale, GMHBA, RACV, all these different acronyms and we have no idea what they all mean? Well, have no fear because today we have Damien Kos-Beckwith from the 18th Amendment who is our resident beer specialist to explain it all for us. So welcome guys, this is Damien Kos-Beckwith. Damien, can you quickly just tell us a little bit about yourself before we start trying beers?
Yeah, so I've been a bartender at the 18th Amendment Bar for nearly 3 years now. In that time, competed a little bit in cocktail competitions and found myself doing a little bit of home brewing and falling in love with the craft beer revolution.
Ah, awesome. Now Damien, I am a beer lover. But I'm getting a little bit confused because there are so many beers that are coming out at the moment and I understand there's a craft beer revolution and I find myself that I don't drink your lager style anymore because I do like these new beers, but I'm getting kind of confused. So the guys, Daniel from Gage Roads has been really generous and given us some beers to sample, and I'd love to see if you can run us through and kind of explain to me and to our listeners what is the difference between all these beers?
Yeah, absolutely. So these days, as George said earlier, we've got quite a few different styles of beer on the market, ranging from your lager, your pilsner, which are your cold fermented, your more German style of beers, running through to your pale ales, your India pale ales and your extra pale ales. The main difference is from the first two categories, you've got a different form of yeast for your lager and your pilsner, which is a cold climate yeast that is more prone to fermenting in colder conditions. It takes a lot longer as well. So with those beers, you're getting more clean, crisp, refined beer. Whereas your ales, and that ale yeast strain is better off working at a warmer temperature, which gives a lot more esters and a lot more fruity flavours, which is more conducive to our hop-forward beers we've got in front of us.
Well, it's like kind of confusing for the way that they make these beers. So just give me a really quick breakdown. There's only like 3 ingredients to beer, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So water, malt, hops and yeast, so 4 if you include water.
Awesome, cool. So I want to try beer, right? So we have a Gage Roads single fin summer ale. Summer, is it because they only make it in the summertime or what's?
No, so this is one of their core range, so they make this all year round, but the hops that they've used are more conducive to that nice, clean, quenching summer beer.
Awesome. Now I heard that hops is actually related to the marijuana family.
This is true. Absolutely, yep.
Can we get a little bit of a buzz from it? Or?
Absolutely not. No, so just a nice... All
right. So you are the man that knows a bit more about beer than I do. So can you show us how to pour a beer?
Yeah, so pretty simple. One thing with beer, I always like to decant or pour the beer into a glass. Give the glass a nice tilt. You want to break a little bit of that carbon dioxide in the beer. Otherwise you get quite bloated. So I find by pouring into a glass and getting the nice amount of head on top, you're getting rid of a lot of that CO2 that's trapped in the beer, and therefore you can have a few more beers.
It's funny that you said that you get bloated. I enjoy drinking beer, but I find that I can do about maybe 4 or 5 tops. Then I just do feel really bloated and I move on to spirits. Is that because maybe I'm not decanting it properly? Is it because I'm not causing enough foam or head? Or
yeah,
I just drink out of the can.
Yeah, so if you're drinking out of the can, you've had nothing, like there's a lot of this carbon dioxide or CO2 trapped in that beer. So essentially it's going straight from the can, fully carbonated, into your gut, and then as you move around, that sort of foams up, which is why you get bloated. So simply by pouring into a glass, you're getting rid of that, some of that CO2, as well as you're opening the beer up, and with that nice head on top, you'll get the full aroma of those hops.
Cool. And how much head or foam do you think should be on the top of a beer when you pour it, because as a bartender many times I've poured a lot of flat ones, I've poured a lot of ones that are too heavy, and customers tend to complain a little bit. What do you think is a perfect head for a beer?
I rate about a centimetre on top, I dare
so
say.
like a finger width.
Yep.
Right, sweet. I want to give it a try.
Absolutely.
And then you can tell us a little bit. So summer ale. All right, let's give it a try. Now, do we nose beer like a wine or a spirit or something like that?
Yeah, definitely. So as I said, that's part of one of the reasons why I like to pour the beer out into a glass, is you can really get that aroma coming off the top, which is also helped by that CO2, which is bringing those bubbles and those that hop aroma as well as the malt aroma to the top. So being a summer ale, this is quite light and fruity. I like a little bit of passion fruit. Almost like a fruit salad, I suppose.
I don't get fruit salad, right? So it's like wine. When I try wines and I hear all these different tastings, I do get malt and so forth. Is that something that gets better as I drink more beer, that I start picking up?
Yeah, definitely.
Is it something you've got to do it all the time? Or?
I think it's one of those things. The more beers you try, the more you're sort of training your palate and your nose to be able to pick up on different things. For me, I like to buy a few different beers, research them so I know what hops are in them, because each hop has its own flavour profile, which once you know what the flavour profile is attributed to that hop, then you know which beers you buy. You have different hop flavours to look for.
Cool, awesome. All right, let's give it a try. Yeah, easy drinking. I really like that. It is, yeah. It's light. It's not overly bitter.
Nope.
For me.
No, so I think that this one lands at about 25 IBU, which is IBU stands for International Bitterness Units. So that's some information that we can look into on, and most craft breweries these days are putting that information on the can. So I know when I first started drinking beer, 25 IBU for me was pretty much as high bitterness as I could go. But with the craft beer and IPAs and double IPAs and triple IPAs these days, they're getting pretty crazy levels of bitterness units. Awesome. We can definitely go higher.
yeah, cool. I like to drink beers that are very bitter, but I can't drink a lot of them also because of the amount of flavour. I think that something like this, for me, I could sort of go to a party and drink a lot of. It's a little bit more sessional.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I think that's part of the summer ale branding, is you're thinking that warm summer backyard barbecue. It's only 4.5% ABV, so you can have one or two more of them than you could have a big IPA, which is normally up around the 6-7%.
Yeah, awesome. I really like that. How do you rate that?
I really enjoy it. It's, as I said, I think there are different beers at different times, and for me, backyard summer barbecue with a burger or a sausage, it's just the perfect pairing.
Awesome. Okay, so I really like it. Can we try the next one?
Yeah, definitely. Yep, absolutely.
Right. I'm not going to waste it. The guys from Gage Roads were super generous in donating the beer, so...
Well, I'm driving, so I'm going to be responsible and just get rid of it.
Oh, hang on a minute. I'm not driving, so...
Why waste good beer, I suppose?
I promise I don't have coronavirus. I just thought right then. We're closer than 1.5 metres apart, guys, so he would have it if I had it by now. So, all right. Is it okay to just keep pouring into the same glass, or do we have to change it?
Yeah, so within reason, yes. As long as you're getting to more malty, more hoppy beers, that's fine, because you'll find that the beer will overpower whatever dregs are left in the glass. That's fine.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
I'm pretty lazy, so I don't want to wash the glass. I'm going to give it a try.
Go for it, yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, I've poured beers before, but I want to see if I can do better than the specialist.
1 centimetre of head. That's pretty good. Beautiful.
That'll do?
Yeah.
Okay, what do we have here? Atomic Pale Ale Beer Project.
Yeah, so the Atomic Beer Project is a little side project by the guys from Gage Road. And any beer with the Atomic branding on it is essentially a hop forward beer. And it's really trying to explore the world of hops and what we can do with them. So I know a couple of their new releases, they're using some really weird and wacky ways of style of hops. with this one. So this is the pale ale. So as you can see, it's a little bit darker than the last beer. So what these guys are absolutely awesome at doing is putting as much information on the can as possible. So this one shows us that it's got 3 hops in it. It's a 30 IBU, so a little bit more bitter than the last beer. And the way they get that is by when they're making the beer, they'll put a little bit more hops in it. More often than not, they'll put more hops at the start of the boil, which brings out the bitterness from the hop. And it also says it's 19 EBC. So EBC is essentially just grading the color. So the higher the EBC, the darker the color.
Okay, so can you tell me just quickly, what is the difference between, like, when I go out and buy a slab of beer, and for our American viewers, a slab of beer in Australia can be anywhere from $50 to $100, $110.
Yeah, these days, yeah.
Why are some of these beers more expensive than others?
So as craft beer, using craft ingredients and better hops, I suppose. A lot of these beers will use quite a lot more hops than your lagers and your pilsners, and essentially hops are one of the most expensive ingredients in the beer process.
Okay, gotcha. So it's yeah, all right. I understand that.
Cool.
You guys need to. Let's give it a try. We need to do this before the last beers kick in. Yeah, that does smell very different.
Yeah, so for me, it's a little bit. You're definitely getting a bit more of that malt, which we can sort of see by that colour, and a bit of pine on the nose.
Yeah. All right, give it a try. I like that better. Like, I love the single fin, but my palate now is I'm enjoying sort of. I think for me that mid-range sort of pale ale works. I can definitely drink this sessionally as well.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Yeah.
So again, this is, I think, was around the 5%, 4.7%. So it's still not crazy high in terms of the craft beers, as high as craft beers can get these days. So a really good sessionable beer. I think the flavour in there is really well balanced. With beer, you're sort of wanting to balance your ABV, your malt, and your hops. And I think they've done that really, really well.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Okay, Damien, so what do we have next?
Alrighty, so next we've got the Atomic Beer Project XPA.
XPA, another letter now. What is XPA?
So an extra pale ale.
Extra.
So you will notice this beer is more pale than the last one. Got a slight haze to it. Dare say that's from the addition of some wheat in the mash.
That is a lot lighter.
A lot lighter, yeah. So this one won't have as much of that sort of the malty flavour. So this one's going to be more hop driven.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It kind of looks a little bit like, what's the beer that I've had overseas? Hoegaarden?
Yep.
It's got that sort of cloudiness.
Yeah, so similar but a different style. So that Hoegaarden is a wheat beer, so the wheat's the majority of the mash, whereas this would only have a small injection of a small percentage of wheat in the mash, just to give it that slight haze. And we find wheat as well as oats carries a good amount of mouthfeel. So this beer is a little bit lighter in alcohol, so you've got to up that mouthfeel to carry the flavours.
Cool. So hazy beer isn't bad. Like, if I hadn't drunk a beer before that was hazy, I would probably think, oh, that kind of be a little bit
right.
funky.
It kind of
That's
reminds me
okay.
of like my first few batches of homebrew. Yeah, these days having haze in beer is absolutely fine. It's normal. What we now know is a lot of the mainstream bigger brands will actually filter their beer to remove any haze, and haze can come, as we said, from the wheat or oats. It can also come from hop debris left in the mash, left in the beer as well, and that's fine. It's just an extra bit of flavour. Cool. As George has a taste, we're going to run through. So again, 3 hops in this one. I know that the predominant hop used is Azaka, so this one should have a bit of pineapple coming off it. 25 IBU, so same as the single fin, and 7 EBC. As you can tell, it's a lot more pale than the pale ale.
It's funny that you said that. Pineapple, I wouldn't have picked it up, but I do get it when you said it. It's funny with a lot of the tastings that we do with spirits as well. When somebody puts that into your mind, you can definitely pick up on it.
Yep.
I don't know if it's me, but I get a little bit of that sort of tropical sweetness for some reason. Is that just me, or?
Yeah, almost like a citrus zestiness too. A bit of whether it's grapefruit or lemon, but that's a really delicious beer.
That sweetness is gone, but no, it's sort of back again. I find it hard to explain it, but I really do like that actually. I think I like it better than pale ale, and I drink a lot of pale ale. So, yeah.
Yep. No, I think this is my favourite so far.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the percentage again?
4.2.
Okay. So
Yep,
you
so
could definitely
quite low.
smash a few of these as well. So.
You could, yep.
All right, cool. I might have to smash these too. Oh, Dan, thank you. Gage Roads.
Yeah, thanks,
That's
Dan.
awesome. So,
Absolutely.
All right. Shall we go on to the last one? Are you going to pour that out?
No, well, I was, but if you want it.
You know, guys, in all of my videos, I normally drink responsibly, but I'm starting to swear, I think. Today I'm going to treat myself because I've got a special guest.
Yeah, and it's after lunchtime, so, Just.
I just realised I do have my car in the car park. I'm definitely going to get an Uber home because we're filming again in the morning, so I am slurring. Okay.
Awesome.
Let's talk a little bit about the next one.
Yeah, so next to the Atomic Beer Project IPA. So IPA stands for India Pale Ale. Typically, sorry.
I was going to say, was it originally made in India or?
So a few stories going around. I'm pretty sure this one's been busted, but it is a great story. But essentially, so India Pale Ales are hoppier versions of Pale Ales. And the story we were told a couple of years ago, which I think has been busted now, is essentially on the transport to India on the ships. So they realised that the beers weren't holding long enough. So, and just by chance, they had a beer that was hopped a little bit heavier. And they realised that beer lasted longer. We do know that hops are a preservative, as a natural preservative. So essentially, these beers were brewed to travel on boats and ships, and they stood the test of time.
Okay, and this is a bit darker.
Yeah, definitely.
As well.
Yeah, so again, looking at the balance, like all beers should be balanced. So more hops requires more malt. More malt means more ABV. So this is a bigger beer all around, sitting at 5.6%. But you will get IPAs that go a lot higher, and you'll find double IPAs and triple IPAs, which are very big, very hoppy, and very delicious.
Cool. Where do you think craft beer is heading? Do you think we'll eventually, there's a massive gin craze in Australia at the moment, we can't keep up with the amount of distilleries that are coming out. Do you think it'll continue to grow, or will people just eventually say, holy shit, it's getting too confusing, go back to... What's your personal opinion?
I think I'm loving my craft beers at the moment. I think people are now experimenting with weird and wacky beers. We've got pastry stouts, ice cream flavoured IPAs, which are all delicious and fun, but you can probably only have one of them. So I think we're going to find I think the number of breweries will stay the same, maybe increase a little bit, but I think we'll find people focusing on just making good beer, like the guys from Atomic. All these beers we've had today are just really well balanced, delicious beers with no faults in them. So I think you'll find, and we might even find a push back into the lager category, because it is such a clean, crisp, simple style of beer, but it's so refined and elegant that I think people will end up settling on that because they can really dissect it and pull it apart.
It's funny you say that, because I haven't drank lager for a long time, but recently I got into the Mismatch lager, which I really enjoy, and it's one of our house beers here at 18th Amendment Bar. So yeah, I definitely agree with you that it's nice to sort of swap around and try different things. But yeah, look, I really like it.
Yeah, so as I said, knowing that there's more alcohol in this beer, so they've put a lot more hops. Looking at the colour, I will check. So 19 EBC, so slightly higher than the pale ale. So they've used a few darker grains, whether it was like a Vienna malt. So I'm getting a little bit of that sort of raisin maltiness off the top, and definitely tasting those hops.
I'm not going to lie, I drink this at home because I really do like it. As I said earlier, I drink a lot of IPAs, and I really rate it as well. Thanks for coming in, and we will definitely get you back. And guys, please, if you want to ask some questions, Damien will have access to the comment section below. Please subscribe, let us know if there's anything else that you'd like us to do or film. Come around, please, guys. We're going to introduce you to Jamie, one of our camera people behind the scenes. He wants to drink this beer as well. Hey, Jamie, if you want to take that.
I'll take both.
Yeah.
Go for
Double
it.
park
Yeah.
it, why not?
Actually, give us a try from a strapping young fella. What do you think?
I'll talk into your microphone. Very fruity. I'm getting tropical notes. Like, I feel like I'm in the Caribbean, you know? And definitely could put a few of these back. I wouldn't say it's a binge-worthy drink because I feel like it's a bit heavier than I would like to binge. But good alternative to like the VB, which I normally drink.
Absolutely.
There you
I'll
go.
definitely polish these bad boys up.
All right.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Okay, thanks guys. We're not even going to cut. We're just going to go through the whole session, I think. I'm going to try to keep it natural. And thanks for joining. Thank you so much, Damien Kos-Beckwith and Jamie, Angie filming. And we will see you again soon on Let's Talk Drinks.
Cheers.